Now it's time for the Voice for the Industry podcast.
Hello. Great episode today with Antoni Hoshino from Pest AI. He has really taken a lot of his experience from marketing and management, sales, and pest control industry and created essentially a pest-centric CRM that does a great job of managing your sales and tracking all that. It's so good we use it here at Voice for Pest, the official sponsor of Voice for Industry podcast. But we talk about AI. We talk about a lot of really interesting things. But if you're looking for a solution to really manage your leads and get the most out of an AI and optimization, check out Pest AI with Antoni.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I work with him a lot and he's great and he knows what he's doing with the system and the CRM is very easy to use. So it is interesting to hear him talk about it from this side.
And it's a whole lot less money than HubSpot. So take that to the bank. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy it. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. Really excited. We have Antoni Hoshino with Pest AI, who is quickly taking over the world of pest control and lawn CRMs. Well, maybe not the whole world, but a lot of it so far. We're really excited to have him. Welcome, Antoni.
Thank you for having me, Raymond. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So I'm going to read your bio and then we're going to get started. Antoni Hoshino is the founder of Pest AI, a platform that's quickly becoming a command center for modern pest control companies. Before launching Pest AI, Antoni spent years in the trenches helping pest control company businesses scale, taking small operation to multi-million-dollar brands and consulting for companies nationwide, where he drove millions in new recurring revenue. Those hands-on experiences gave him a front row seat to the bottlenecks and broken systems owners deal with every day, and ultimately inspired him to build smarter tools that make growth simpler. Today, Pest AI powers hundreds of pest control companies and continues to evolve at the pace of the industry. That's a good bio. Welcome again, Antoni.
Thank you, Raymond.
And I want to start off by saying that Voice for Pest, the sponsoring right there, the sponsoring company of our podcast, we have stopped using HubSpot and we use Pest AI, which we love, and we saved a lot of money in the bargain as well. So just full disclosure, happy to plug it. So all right, so let's get started. So how'd you get started? Share your origin story at Pest AI. Where did it come from?
Yeah.
How did you make the decision to get there? And also, where did you come up with the first name, which was very hard to pronounce? I think it was Fios. Was that the first name?
Nailed it.
Yeah. I'm glad you rebranded it though. That was a tough one. But anyway, I'm kidding about the name. So go ahead, tell us about Pest AI.
Yeah. So, I came from pest control, helped grow a few companies. From there, went into some consulting, doing sales, training, marketing consulting for different companies all over the US. And as I was doing that, what I realized was there's so much marketing available these days, right? There's agencies all over the place. There's AI to help you do your own marketing. But what a lot of companies were lacking were just the systems that we had in place to effectively, scale growth. And so I started helping build these systems for a company that I was working with at the time, and somebody else asked, what's that? I saw the system that you're using. What is that? And it honestly eventually just turned into a business of now we build sales systems for pest control companies all over the US. And it was a little bit of a gap in a niche where we found ourselves really providing something that really helped a lot of companies get to that next level, and regardless of how their leads were coming to them. So that's where we've been for the last, what's it been, 5 years, 6 years now?
Wow.
The name change came. So Fios was initially the name of my business when I started consulting. A good friend of mine who passed away years ago, when that happened, I thought maybe I'll start a foundation. And so the name of the foundation was going to be Forever in Our Hearts. And so I bought the URL FIOHS. And when I went out on my own to start my own business, I was like, I have this URL. I'll just use this. This is great. And that became the name of my business for years.
Yeah.
And I went through iterations of people are like, what does it mean? I'm like, first in online home services, or, trying to not give some sappy story every time somebody asks what it was. But then when we came out with our first versions of conversational AI years ago, and we had that almost as like a side product, we called that Pest AI. And over that, 12 months or so, we realized let's just rebrand the entire business to that name because it just resonated a lot easier with everybody. And so that's where Pest AI originated from.
And, that's a good name because you're preventing a lot of other companies from using that name because that's a really good name to have, right? I mean, Pest AI.
Luckily we've been doing it now for long enough that we were able
Yeah.
to be kind of the first and get and do that. So we got lucky.
That's fantastic. So so now so one of the things you do is I guess let me back up. What I've noticed over the last couple of years, maybe longer, I don't know, is for a long time, pest control companies use kind of the standard pest control like CRMs, and they're all out. There's a bunch of them. I'm not going to name them all because then somebody will get mad because I didn't name them, but we know who they are.
Sure.
But now we've seen the shift where pest control and lawn care companies are starting to really use a sales CRM, right, like HubSpot, and then use the traditional softwares as their field service management, right?
Right.
And I think everybody's starting to catch on that you get a lot more functionality and a lot more capability when you use a sales-centric CRM to acquire the customers, right?
Yeah.
And then you can move them over into your permanent field service where you're scheduling and doing all that kind of stuff. And have you seen that? I mean, I know you've seen it, but I think part of what's happened is your service, your products is really kind of helping lead that way, right?
Yeah, that's definitely what we've tried to push in the industry, just because we saw it work so well. We saw it work so well for myself. And we're really at this point, we're not even a platform. We're really more of a service agency. What we try to do is help companies create these sales systems that are fully vertically integrated into everything that they're wanting to use for the company. So, whether they're using voice for pests and wanting to keep, those calls tracked.
As they should be,
Should be, of course.
Absolutely.
We love Voice for Pests. Voice for Pests is obviously great because all the cool stuff you guys do with AI can get sent to us, and then that can be used in a bunch of different ways. Or if they're using, like you said, like Field Routes or Pest Pack or all these other brands, right? We like to integrate to literally everything we can and create this ecosystem to really drive sales and marketing clarity and allow for scalable growth for the business. So that's really what we focus on.
That's awesome. So you are, hip deep in AI now, but you weren't always. So you had to be an early adopter and make that transition. So what were some of the things that you did and how you were able to personally kind of shift your mindset and realize that really AI is going to drive everything?
Yeah, I mean, when I started doing this, it was just automation. We didn't have AI. There was no open AI or any of this. It was just building just grassroots guerrilla style automations where I would map out every possible conversation interaction. If they say this, do this. If they say this, do that. And I would go pretty far. I was able to create completely automated conversations just because I had so many of them. I knew, hey, these are the 20 possible responses they're going to have when I say this, and we would map it out. And so AI just completely changed everything. And honestly, for me, the adoption was so easy because it made what we were doing so much easier. It took all that work out. I could now just build that out via AI, and I don't have to figure out every single response and everything. Right? And so it was, for me, it was an easy way to adopt. But then I just sort of realized there's so many ways to use AI. I just slowly started adopting as many of them as I could. To the extent that today you mentioned a post that I put on, I think, Facebook probably like a year ago or so. I was like, I'm literally on a treadmill right now building an app using an AI filter. It's just, honestly, it's incredible like how helpful AI can be and what you can do with it. And I'm just excited for it to continue, especially through the pest control industry. I feel like sometimes we get slept on a little bit when it comes to technology. And there's some great companies that are pushing that for us. And I think the more technology we can get in pest control, the better it's going to be for all of us. So I'm excited.
Well, I agree, but you're obviously somebody that's pretty adept with AI, and there are others, a lot of people that aren't, like me, right? I don't have the ability to go in and do all that great AI coding and prompting and all that stuff. So, so with the, as consumers expect and demand more and more of this AI driven things where they can go and get stuff quickly and easy and whatever.
Yeah.
What do you see as like the learning curve? Like, what I've seen is like everybody wants AI, but they're not really sure why, and they're not really sure what they're going to do with it, but they know it's
Yeah.
cool and they need to have it, right? So
Yeah.
what are you seeing, and how are you helping people understand and kind of follow the curve of AI, AI enhanced features and products?
Yeah, we get a lot of those, more and more so lately. I'll get on a demo call and I'm like, cool, what brings you to Pest AI? Like, I don't know, but I need AI.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So, and again, this really comes to us being much more than a product or a platform. We really want to help people implement AI in so many different ways into their business. And the way that we generally do that is very hands-on, assisting and guiding them to not only the different ways that they can use AI, but then also supporting them in using it. So, for example, if somebody wants to create an AI agent to help handle inbound leads or calls or whatever it is, we're not going to just give them a software that they can use to do that. We're going to help them with the prompting and the building of the knowledge base and all of the back end technical aspects that go into using AI effectively. We essentially become the AI tech team for your business. And I think that really helps get people into moving it because it alleviates that block. I just don't know how it works, so I can't do it.
Right.
Right. And so that's what we're trying to alleviate a little bit of that blocking there of maybe just getting started. Um, and if we can teach them even better along the way, or if people just want us to handle it forever and they don't want to learn about it, that's fine too. So
yeah, we say the same thing. If you never want to touch your phone system, fine. If you want to be hands on and turn all the nuts and the bolts, that's fine too.
You get it.
So I lost my train of thought for a minute, but I'll come back to it. So with the evolution of customer behavior, so everybody wants to go there, wants to go now. They expect AI. What do you see, or how are you recommending your customers in the pest and lawn industry? What are some of the things that they can do? Maybe some of the AI features and functionalities that the consumers really expect, and as the future moves forward, there's going to be more and more demand for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the buying culture is becoming more of an instant gratification expectation style, right? I think there's a ton of value still to that human relationship and personal touch, which is why we do some things the way that we do. But, as far as immediately where can AI help, it's, really just like always being able to respond or being able to provide somebody with more information quickly or using AI to analyze call behavior and calls so that your team can then operate better, right? Which is something really cool that Voice for Pest does. Shout out Voice for Pest.
Shameless plug. We'll take.
So,
Yeah.
there's so many ways to implement it, but I think it's the consumers that are really driving what we need to implement into our business. They're telling us, hey, I want to get an answer instantly. Hey, I want to be able to talk to somebody whenever I want to talk to somebody, or I don't want to have to call in and talk to anybody. I just want to text. Right. And so companies just definitely want to be looking out for that and giving the consumer the ways to interact that they want to interact. And I think that's going to become a lot more present here as the years go on. And obviously, as AI gets more capable, there's going to be so many ways to implement it.
Yeah, and this is kind of a weird correlation, but everything is two-factor authentication. You try to log in and they want to send you a text message, right? So, and then you have to, and for me, because I'm old and befuddled, I've got this thing on my phone and I'm trying to find the code, and I'm trying to type the code over here. Well, my credit union has this cool thing, right, where it sends me the text and it has a little button that says, allow us to go ahead and put that in that field for you, right? So it eliminates the step. And I'm like, I wish everybody would do that. It's like simple things. And so I look at it like if you can do those type of things that with AI and other features that not everybody does and make it easier, the more easy it is to use it, the better. And we're even seeing, like you mentioned, our AI. Well, we have an X-ray platform, and it's amazing. But the first iteration of it, it eliminated the need for humans to collect all this data. But then it said, hey, here's all the data. Well, now we've taken the next step, and we're using AI to create these platforms where you say you don't even have to find it anymore. It's right here. So, and I'm assuming eventually AI can just make all the phone calls and resolve everything. I don't know. I think that's where we're going, but it is really exciting to see all the capabilities coming out, but it is very clear that there are ways to make AI better for your company and make it easier for your customers. And that's
Yeah.
what Pest AI does from our perspective. We absolutely have loved using it. And it, like I said, it's similar to HubSpot, but it does has a lot of other functionality that HubSpot doesn't. It's very specific to the industry.
Awesome.
And so just tell us a little bit, I mean, free time, what are some of the key features of Pest AI that can help pest control companies? I mean, I know you've got the
Sure.
pipelines and all that stuff. Just give us kind of a quick tutorial.
Yeah. So, I mean, we always kind of start on the front end as far as like lead management. It's usually where we start with most companies. The biggest problem that I always immediately had when I was trying to sell pest control is that I just had leads in all these different places, right? And I had to go in my email, or I had to go log into this platform or that platform and tracking it all. And everything was going through what felt like a leaky bucket. And so we like to connect and integrate to every source that we possibly can, pull those all into one ecosystem for you, one platform, one dashboard. And then from there, help you through the sales process, whether it's just visually managing that lead and knowing where it is in the sales cycle, or automating any part of the communication that you want to. So that can be initial outreach for speed to lead. Let's say you get a lead and doesn't answer. So we want the system to then nurture that person to respond back to you. Or you send somebody one of our estimate funnels or a proposal out of another platform, and then we want our system to automatically follow up on that customer for you. So you just literally have nothing ever falling through the cracks. And that alone, we see increased conversion rate for businesses um, quite dramatically, because you don't realize, oh, I missed that one email lead here, or I missed that one call there. And it adds up, over time. And so our goal is to just eliminate any lost opportunity other than, somebody saying no to what you're trying to sell them.
Right. And then you could use AI to coach that person and make them better, right?
And then we could use
There
AI
you
to
go.
try to
There
coach
you
them.
go. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, and I want to go back to that point, because we hear that a lot from our customers. You have a website and somebody goes and fills the forms out and it comes in an email. You have a phone call coming in. You have a text message. You have social media now where somebody can go in so you
Yeah.
have all these different places where people are trying to reach you and say, hey, I want to buy from you. And what Pest AI does is, like you said, it puts all the ingredients in a pot, right? And then you have a whole meal
Yeah.
right there. It's all connected.
Yeah.
And then you can manage it, and then you automate it. And that's the best part of it. You set it all up, and
Yeah.
then lead comes in and we don't have to worry about it. It just gets handled and it gets sold
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. And then we can use
Yeah.
other AI to track it. So it's pretty powerful
And
stuff.
for the sales managers out there, for example, right? One of the problems I had as a sales manager was just constantly having to remind my sales reps on, hey, like, this is the process we need to follow. This is how we want to follow up. This is how many times to call each person, right? And so the great thing about automation or even AI is that you can put these processes in place. And our goal is never to replace humans, but just make them super powered, right? How do we take that sales rep and then make it so that they're following up the exact right way every single time for that specific company, right? And so we want to create these tools and these systems for them so that they have the most opportunity to then win those opportunities for the business and convert those into those reoccurring customers that we all love so much.
Absolutely. You said something there, and I want to talk about that. And this is going to be one of those, like, we're just going to be honest conversations. Nobody wants to replace humans with AI. Well,
Yeah.
it's going to happen. And here's and I I don't say that happily, but if you go to a grocery store, count how many self-checkout registers there are compared to how many human
Yeah.
beings are working registers. Back, 5-10 years ago, right, however long ago, there was no self-checkout. You had 10 human cashiers. Now you have 2 human cashiers and a dozen checkouts. AI, we're gonna get to the point where you're gonna have AI agents instead of human, not full replacement, but I think that's just where the world's gonna go. And not everybody's happy about it. And it doesn't mean that everybody's gonna get fired and lose their jobs. But the reality is, when you have an AI agent that can work 24/7 and doesn't need time off and doesn't get sick and all that stuff, ultimately they're going to prove themselves very valuable to the business. And so I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is, what do you see coming down the road as somebody that's kind of in the forefront of AI in this industry? Maybe some of the technologies you see coming down that companies are going to end up leveraging and things that maybe aren't quite there yet. Any
Yeah.
ideas on that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always kind of thinking like, what's next? I think, for one, on the side of, are we getting replaced? I think there are going to be a lot of ways that we can use AI more efficiently than maybe a human can do something. But I don't think it's going to necessarily just completely replace people. I think responsibilities are going to shift
Right. They'll be
because
in different places doing
that
yeah.
task, that the human doesn't need to do that task. They can focus on something else, right? And I'm a really big component of really finding a nice balance for your business. Some companies come to us and they're just like, no, I just want the AI to answer every single call.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's your brand, that's your business. But then we have other companies who have found a really good balance, having the AI only answer for after hours or overflow, because you still want to have that personal touch in your
Right.
brand, right? Um, but as far as like what's coming down the pipeline, I think AI is going to really bring game changers for things like routing intelligence, right? Making our routes more efficient so that companies can run more effectively. I think that's going to be huge down the pipeline here over the next few years. There's obviously software is already doing it, but I think that's going to be something really big. Um, Obviously end to end automated customer journeys. We do that now, right? Somebody can call in and to one of our agents or text into one of our agents and get signed up for service and scheduled. And, we can do that whole journey now. So that's here, but it's only going to get better.
Right.
Um, but then there's also the analysis side, which I'm really interested in. And I love that you guys are really, pushing and piloting that for the industry as far as data, right? AI analyzing data, predictive churn prevention, right? Getting these signals way in advance if a
Right.
customer is likely to cancel their service based on they had this many reservices or this many missed appointments or whatever, or they sent these messages, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of cool ways that AI can kind of just help us analyze and look at. There's so much data coming to us on a day. We get text messages and emails and phone calls, and AI can help us identify these conversations before we have a chance to even see that email, right? And notify us of, hey, oops, look out, watch out for this customer.
Wow.
They're in a bad spot, right? Cleaner data in your CRMs. And like you said, if it's not a human having to manually type something in, there's no human error,
Right.
right? So if the AI is analyzing a conversation and putting that into the CRM for you, the AI is not going to make those mistakes,
Right.
or
Yeah.
typos or whatever it is. And then there's AI coaching, right? AI can analyze and assess and then even coach people on what could be done better by analyzing the sentiment of the person on the other end. There's so many applications. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
really cool to see what
Yeah,
comes
and I
next.
mean, and we're doing some of that now. Like I said, our first iteration was here's this data. Now it's hey, AI is helping you manage the data. But what I really like about what you just said, I haven't thought about that is, an email comes in, AI scans it, goes through, scans everything. Hey, this is the third email or this is the third phone call about this topic, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. And I hadn't really thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense because we're already doing that to a certain extent, but not as a whole, and the more it can do it can look in the history of the customer. So that makes a lot of sense. That's pretty exciting. I hadn't really
Yeah.
thought about that. So that's
We
really
have an
cool.
add-on that's doing it for us now. Basically just sucks in everything, all the conversations that are being had. And it effectively can help us analyze the current sentiment and behavior of our customers. And the goal there is we just want to make sure we always are ahead of the curve, right? We don't ever want to be surprised when somebody cancels their service if they're going to cancel. We need a heads up because we want to proactively be there for them and try to prevent any issues. And so I think that's a really cool way. I think if we can implement that more for pest control companies, that'll go a long way because retention is so important for our businesses. And so I think focusing AI in that area moving forward is going to be huge as we implement that for more companies.
I think you're right because I think a lot of companies don't really pay as much attention to retention. They certainly don't pay as much attention to retention as they do to sales. Right? It's all about
Sure.
bringing in new business, but you've already paid for that customer. They're already more profitable right now. So keep them. So I think that AI being able to really help companies, increase their focus on retention and improve it is going to have a big impact overall. That's pretty
Definitely.
cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, so All right. So anything else you want to share? You said I can't ask you about your kids because you don't want to cry. So I want to ask you about your kids, but any other topics you want to talk about or anything you think that people need to hear out there?
Yeah, I think one of the things I hear a lot from smaller local companies is that they can't compete with the billion-dollar brands, right? Oh, I can't run Google ads because of this, or I can't do this because of, this company's in my service area. And I think the great thing about the different technologies that are available now, whether it's Pest AI, Voice for Pest, or any of these companies that are helping uh, brands do more, is it's almost kind of leveling the playing field, right?
Yeah.
You can be as responsive as a billion-dollar brand. You can be as available as a bill. Oh, I can't be open 24/7. So they're, but they can. Well, now you can.
Yeah, now you can. Yeah.
Right. So that for me is really great because I really do think that technology is, there is no more, I can't do it because I'm small. Everyone now has access to these technologies, right? It used to
Yeah.
be before you got these billion-dollar brands that were creating it themselves in-house with all these engineers and
Right.
crazy smart people, right? And now it's so readily available to everyone. Everyone can go get an open AI account and have an amazing go-to-market strategy,
Yeah.
right? That maybe you would have to have some super marketer you're paying 300 grand a year who knows how to do this stuff. Now everyone has it in their pocket. So I think that's one of the coolest parts about where technology is going, is how it's just leveling the field and giving everyone a fair opportunity to succeed.
Oh, and I had thought about that, but you're right. And it's not just in the sales side of the business. I would assume like training, right? I mean, these giant companies have training
Yeah.
departments and all this. Well, now you can have as a formidable training department with 3 technicians, as
Right.
a guy with 3,000. So, and everything else, finances and all. So that's I think you're right on the money there. That's we're seeing that with our customers. We have small, when I say small, to us small is, like a couple people in the office answering the phone. They don't have like a call center and all that. And they're like, hey, I want the AI, I want to do this, I want to do that. And they're the smart ones because they're setting themselves up at the ground level to move forward and really grow very quickly. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And, the other piece too, which I don't think companies always think about when they're young or small, um, you actually have an advantage implementing some of these technologies. It's a lot harder to implement something new in a large corporation than it is in a small business that's very flexible and
That's
doesn't
very
have
true.
so
Yeah.
many procedures already in place, right? Or doesn't have to train 150 people how to use this new thing that you're adding in. So they're actually able to adapt and add these new available technologies a lot faster. And I think if they do that, they'll really quickly find themselves competing at a whole nother level.
No, and it's funny you say that because a lot of people look at our company. So you guys are small compared to these giant companies. I say, yeah, well, you can say small. I prefer agile, right? Where we can move, we can adjust,
We're
we can do
scrappy.
things. We're scrappy, right? We're here to win. We're here to make you
Yeah.
happy and make you succeed because we succeed that way. Do you think
Yeah.
that giant billion-dollar phone system cares about you with your 4 extensions in your little pest control office? No, but we do. So it's kind
No.
of very common,
We
very common. Yeah.
yeah. We
And
used
I
to
know you
call it
feel
the
the same way.
shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we called it the shuffle. It's like, oh, we got to shuffle today. let's
That's smart.
go.
Yeah,
We can do something we weren't expecting. Let's go.
that's right. But we can do it, and that's
We can do
the
it.
beauty of it. All right. Well,
Yeah.
this is great. I love this mutual admiration podcast. I love it. It's great. But in all seriousness, what you guys are doing at Pest AI is fantastic. Like I said, we're a customer. Anybody that's out there and they're not sure what direction they want to go, or they just want to see what you guys can do, definitely check out Pest AI. I think you'll be impressed. And there's some overlap. We do some things on our technology side that you guys do, but we just make it work. And we just feel like whatever is best for the customer, whatever serves them the best,
Yep.
that's what we do. So very excited. Well,
Same.
this has been great. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Carissa in, and we got a couple funny, weird little questions we're going to go through. Hello, Carissa.
Hi,
Hello.
Carissa.
All
Hello.
right, here we go. So I have a few to choose from. I'm going to tell you one that we thought about. We won't go with this one, but it was, would you rather have spaghetti as hair or sweat mayonnaise? And I'm thinking that, you're always going to be,
Easy.
you always have mayonnaise. But then again, if you want a
It's gotta
sandwich, you
be
just rub
it's
some bread
gotta
on
be
your roast.
spaghetti as hair, right? I
I would
mean,
Yeah.
think.
I already
I
have
would think.
I have curly hair, so
There you go.
I feel like
There you
having
go.
straight hair might be fun. You know, I could have
And you
different
can
hairstyles.
style it, but you don't want to have.
Yeah.
You're
Who
always
doesn't
having to
love
clean up after.
spaghetti?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll skip that one. All right. So here's a good one. What is, and I'll answer first, so you guys have time to think. What is a food that you don't like that everybody else loves, right? And I'll give you my answer right off the bat: ranch dressing. Don't like ranch dressing, and almost everybody in the world that I know of loves ranch dressing, and I don't.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
It's buffalo sauce.
See?
I
There you
can't
go.
stand it. I can't do it. If I'm getting wings, it's got to be a dry rub or a barbecue.
A honey
I can't do
barbecue
the
or
buffalo.
something like
Yeah,
no buffalo. Oh, that's interesting.
no buffalo.
See, now I'm a buffalo and blue cheese guy, not a buffalo and
See?
ranch guy. There you go.
There you go.
All right. I actually mix them together. Anyway, Carissa, what do you got?
Probably cream cheese. I do not like the consistency of
Now
cream
that's
cheese.
weird.
Yeah.
You're just. I think we
Oh,
can both agree
man.
that you're weird. I mean, come on. No
No, I don't like it at all.
cheesecake.
No, I don't eat cheesecake.
That's the first thing that came to my mind was that you're not having cheesecake.
Right.
And it's funny, I'll make like buffalo chicken dip. I can't touch the cream cheese when it goes in. I just, oh, nope.
Really? So it's
Yeah.
not just a flavor. You're just
It's a
disgusted
texture
by
thing.
the whole
Yeah,
concept.
it's texture.
Yeah,
It's texture
okay.
All
for
right,
sure.
I get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not a tofu fan either, because I think they're kind of similar.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Mm-mm.
That's good. I think I said it wrong. Tofu. I said tofu. Wrong episode. All right. Okay. Here's another one. Would you rather be forced to whisper all the time or shout all the time? You can either whisper only or shout only. Really, you're a whisper? Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Why? What's the difference? Why would you go with that?
I am just a very generally calm inclined person. Like my perfect day would literally just be like hanging out and relaxing all day long
and not talking much.
Whispering.
Yeah, not talking. Yeah, so whispering.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah.
What about you, Carissa?
I don't know, because you were kind of mentioned it before, and what you said makes sense. When you're whispering, everyone's got to be real close to you.
I don't want that. Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So I'll probably say shout. I'm a loud
Yeah.
person in general, so I'll
Me
probably
too.
say
I'm
shout.
Italian.
Yeah.
I talk my hand down.
Yeah.
I shout most of the time anyway, so I'm going to go with shout.
That's true.
And plus, I don't want somebody having to get too close to hear me whisper. Yeah, just give me a
That's true. Yeah, I got to rethink my answer. I
little.
didn't think of the distance bubble issue.
You're not allowed to change your mind on this podcast.
I'm locked in, but now everyone's in my space bubble.
You could change your mind. Okay, we'll do one more. We usually do two. We'll do one more. So, what if you had to be a color of? What's your favorite color of food? What was the question? I forgot it now. Color of food. What
you got to
color?
pick one color of food to eat.
Right. If you could only eat one color of food, that was it forever.
One color of food.
Like food that's white, food that's blue, food that's green. What would you pick? I'll go first. I would pick red because pepperoni, pasta sauce. There's a lot of red things. Tomatoes. I think I could handle eating red stuff more, but there's also a good argument for white, because then you got creams and stuff like that. Anyway, my answer is red, locked in.
This is tough.
I'm a big meat eater, so I guess I would go with. Would that be red? Are we saying when it's raw or when it's cooked?
Well, whatever. It can be either way. Like if it starts off red and you cook it, it'd be okay.
If I go red, then I'm good with steak. I love sushi. Gotta have fish, right?
There you
Tuna.
There you go.
No, I think I'd probably go
two
red as
reds.
well. Spaghetti for my hair.
For your hair, yeah. You could just get a haircut and throw it in a bowl with some red sauce. Yeah, but then again, if you had the mayonnaise, you could just wipe a piece of bread on it and have a sandwich. So I don't know.
Do love
sweating
sandwiches.
out of you? Sweating out of you.
Yeah, sweating out of you. That's the problem. Anyway, Carissa, what's your answer? What color?
I'm probably going to go white, because chicken, bread, like the basic stuff that I eat.
Carissa eats almost nothing for them.
Yeah,
when I say that, she doesn't eat many types of food. Yeah, we give her a hard time.
Every day lunch is just mayonnaise sandwich with chicken.
Chicken and rice.
No, I don't like mayonnaise either. So no.
Mozzarella cheese.
Mayonnaise is too closely related to cream cheese. Come on, that's not going to happen.
So, yeah.
So that's funny though. That's really funny. All right, well, you know what? We'll do one more. Why not? We're on a roll. I didn't already ask this one. Would you rather have to hiccup all the time or sneeze all the time? It's either you hiccup or you sneeze.
I think hiccup.
It's
Sneezing
quiet.
is like intrusive to everyone around
Right.
you.
Right.
Hiccuping only affects me. So I can deal with a personal problem. I don't want to be a burden on everyone else around me.
Right. Right. Krista, what do you think?
I would probably say hiccup. I don't want to be sneezing all day.
Yeah, I don't want to be sneezing all day, but if you're somebody that likes, like you said, you just like to be alone, whatever. If you're sneezing all the time, everybody's gonna leave you alone. Just stay away from you. So, but you're right. I would rather not be sneezing because that's just the whole thing. Hiccups a little easier to deal with. So, I think we all agree on that one. So, all right. Well, I think that's it. That was fun. We did a lot of good questions there,
That was
and
awesome.
and it was great. I really enjoyed the topic. I mean, I'm glad that we came to work together, and like I said, Pest AI is fantastic. Everybody check it out. But I'm glad that we have people like you and others out there in the industry driving AI forward, bringing all these things, because it's not just for sales. Like we said, there's the service side of it, there's the training side of it, there's operations, chemical
Customer
costs,
service,
customer
everything.
service. It's really amazing, and I'm fortunate. I feel like we're all fortunate to kind of be at the beginning of it and see how it goes and watch it happen. It's really exciting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. That's it. We're gonna call it a day. So I'm gonna say thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
See you next time.